6 p.m. We're going to call to order the Town of Ayer Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda as posted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Second item on the agenda is the continuation of the public hearing from June 19th, application for variance. Eileen Hoskin, is she here?
I don't see her.
I don't see her here, I'm not sure.
You know, she was here at the last meeting, so she knew we were continuing.
Well, just push it back, and if she comes in, we'll...
Yeah, let's do that.
Well, yeah, so we have to.
Oh, we have to close the hearing.
No, we can,
Well, 6:05 is the next one.
6:05 is the next one, so we can just keep it open for the rest of the, well, we can continue it if she doesn't show up.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Well, so you've opened the hearing now, we'll just keep
We
it open.
discontinued it from the last,
Right, but you reopened it just now.
yes.
So what we'll do is keep it open. If she shows up, we'll just take her later in the night.
All right.
It's still open, so what we could do now to get to 6:05 is, I mean, we have minutes from last time.
Yeah.
Did anybody see any changes they thought?
I did not. But I wasn't here either, so.
Notified to me.
They said that was just opening everything and continuing.
Yeah, I didn't see any problem. Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Yeah. Ron, you can sign
Is
those.
this election
What?
on the meeting, on the minutes?
What was it?
What changed?
Sometimes your emails don't have any, it's like blank at the top. I think I did see something and I changed.
I don't want to write on that.
It's too late now.
Applicant is seeking. First one.
Oh, got it. Oh, yeah, I can just cross this out and repost it. And I have assigned on the second page, so it'll be fine. So Sam, and then who seconded the minutes?
I did.
So apologies, we have no air conditioning in town hall. It's one of the frills of local government. We just signed a contract with the chiller replacement people today, so hopefully by September we'll have air conditioning. That's the goal. And just if people aren't aware, for the 17 James Brookway, the chairman just reopened the hearing, but the applicant isn't here, so we're going to keep it open and maybe she'll be here later. And then we can continue. But we'll move up at 6:05 with the Home Scout request in just 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Is he taking any vacation this summer?
Me? Yeah, I went to the Capes and
Anymore?
then I got married. Yeah, I'll probably do some day things here and there. My girlfriends are taking me for like a bachelorette post Mrs. party in August. I don't know where we're going, it's a surprise. Yep.
All right, 6:05 p.m., we're going to reopen the hearing for Home Scout LLC.
Hi.
Good morning, evening.
Just before you begin, probably I have to recuse myself here on the butter. Sit next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you on the butters notification? What?
Yes.
You got a
I got a
notice?
notice in my house, yeah.
Okay, so he's gonna recuse himself because he's in a butter, Michael.
Great.
So just to remind everyone, it would need to be unanimous to pass with only 4 members.
Hi, my name is Tracy Harding. I'm from the law office of Thomas Gibbons, representing Home Scout. So we're here tonight with my client seeking a variance for several variances for property located at 13 Groton Harvard Road. Specifically, I'm going to name the variances that we're seeking at the beginning. Variance from the Ayer zoning bylaw, section 5.2, table of use regulations to allow for townhomes or multifamily dwellings in light industrial district. A variance from the Ayer zoning bylaw, section 6.2, schedule of dimensional requirements to apply general residence minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet plus 3,000 square feet for each additional dwelling on this pre-existing non-conforming lot in a light industrial use. The lot size is 80,949 square feet. We're seeking a variance from Ayer zoning bylaw, section 6.2, schedule of dimensional requirements to allow a front yard setback.
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
Excuse me. How big is the lot?
The lot is different that's listed than on our application. The lot is actually bigger. I think on the application it listed it as 76,666, correct.
Right.
It's actually 80,949. We're also seeking a variance from Ayer zoning bylaw, section 6.2, schedule of dimensional requirements to allow for a side yard setback of 11 feet where 50 feet is required in a light industrial district that abuts a residential district on the southerly side, and 25 feet is required on the northerly side. So as you're aware of this site, that this is the site of the old R. Murphy Knife Company, which had been in existence for 160 years at different locations. It closed, and the owner of the property remains R. Murphy Company Incorporated. The applicant, my client, seeks to purchase the property and use it for residential use. So I was going to lay out the requirements first on what is required for a variance, and then call attention to why the variance should be granted. This board has the power to grant a variance where it finds that owing to the circumstances relating to the soil conditions, shape, topography of the lot, show that a literal enforcement of the provisions of the bylaw would involve a substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, to the petitioner, show that the desired relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, and doing so without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of the bylaw. The topography of our lot is such that it is abutted on one side by railroad tracks. In viewing the entire parcel, it is clear that this is the only lot in the district on this side of the railroad tracks in an otherwise residential district. So when the zoning laws were adopted in Ayer, this business had already been in existence. It was basically spot zoned. My guess is if it was a vacant lot, it would have been residential. The lot slopes down significantly in the back and includes wetlands, so part of the parcel cannot be used for anything and must be preserved. The lot is smaller than is required for light industrial use. It's bordered by a pond and wetlands in the back and railroad tracks to the left. There's also, interestingly, a strange stream that flows through the building that builds up in the corner of the basement, and it seems that there is some type of pipe issue underneath that my client is going to be paying to resolve the soil issues. The relief sought tonight can be granted without detriment to the public good, and in my argument is the variance is in furtherance of the public good because it will provide the chance for people to move to town in an affordable setting. The applicant has submitted a proposal for townhomes, 4 of which would be affordable with restrictions in their deeds. A literal enforcement of the bylaw would involve a hardship. And it seems that there are several people here tonight that have probably something to say about this, so I thought I would take some time to try to explain the zoning and how this happened, and maybe alleviate some of their concerns before the issues are raised. In this case, the knife factory has closed. The factory was operational on a pre-existing non-conforming lot that was zoned as light industrial. What that means is the placement of the factory on the lot, and the lot itself doesn't meet the light industrial use standards. Since the factory predated the zoning bylaw, the factory was allowed to continue its operations, basically grandfathered in. So now we have an issue that the factory has closed. The board could grant the variance, which I'm hoping you will do, and allow for this property to be used as residential. This is not site plan. This is simply whether the property may be used as residential. The board could deny the application, but then the owner would still need to find another buyer who would be able to operate a factory or other permitted uses on the property. Due to the state and current condition of the building, my guess is, and the strange stream in the basement, my guess is that another buyer would need to demolish the building and build a new factory or building for light industrial use. But since it's a non-conforming lot, another buyer is going to be right back before this board trying to seek a variance to be able to even use it as light industrial use. So since the property has already ceased being a factory, the owner only has 2 years from the time the factory closed to have another business use it without a variance for light industrial, or it may lose its grandfathered rights to use it as light industrial use. Then basically nothing can go on the lot. So if that happens, we have the corporate owner of the property and a business that may no longer have an interest in maintaining an unmarketable piece of property. That could result in the building becoming an eyesore, run down, the town would lose out on potential tax revenue. Again, my client's not the owner of the property. He's seeking to purchase the property to put in residential units. So if you drive by this lot, which again, I drove by it at lunch today and looked at it, you'll see that this lot is in an area which would be considered residential. It's across the street from residential condos, and all the way to East Main Street, the lots are all developed as residential. I call attention to the fact that the issue before the board tonight is really whether the property may be used as residential, not the exact number of the units. We submitted some proposed plans to show you some options of what we can do, but it's really whether the property can be used as residential. I call attention to the board notes that have been submitted, and that no board member or department head has objected to the granting of the variance. Charlie Schultz, the building commissioner, specifically said, quote, "No issues with the request as there are similar buildings across the street and it would not be more detrimental to the neighborhood." There's a memo.
You're going to read the entire statement.
And he also said that he would, indicates there's no issues with the lot size, and he would make the front and rear side setbacks the same as the current general residential zoning requirements.
Correct.
The memo from the town planner and Alan Monoyan from the Ayer Office of Community and Economic Development said that the proposed use is compatible with the neighborhood. I spoke with Alan, and he did indicate that he hopes that the residential units would be developed on this property. So for the front,
And they also had issues with the setback.
they did have issues with the setbacks, and they said they don't support the side setback, but they did note specifically that some design features such as a wall or plantings could mitigate the risk. So the front setback we're seeking is 21 feet, where 25 feet is required in light industrial district. This, again, if this property was zoned as residential, we would only need 20 feet, 1 foot less than what we're seeking. 1 foot less than what we have, I'm sorry. But that being said, section 6.3 of the bylaw states that the average setback can apply. So what that means is you take the neighbor's lot, and the vacant lot on the other side of the railroad tracks is actually a vacant lot. And according to the bylaws, that vacant lot would deem being conforming, so you would take the average of those. So we don't actually think we need the front setback. We requested the front setback, so there's no confusion on what the setback would be, but based upon the average, then the neighbor's house appears to be 10 feet approximately from the street. We think that we wouldn't need the front setback. As for the side setback, we're seeking a setback of 11 feet, where 50 feet would be required and on the residential side, and 25 facing the railroad tracks. A general residence would only need 10 feet on each side. So granting the variance would not derogate from the intent or purpose of the ordinance, because the concept of the zoning is to keep residential areas separate from business areas, and vice versa. In this instance, you have a light industrial business in an otherwise residential neighborhood. The railroad tracks are the practical borders of the separate use from residential to light industrial. So by granting the variance, my argument is that the board is actually furthering the purpose of the ordinance. So the issue becomes, what do you want to do with the property? Do you want residential use? Do you want another factory to be built? Or do you want to take the chance that it becomes a rundown piece of property? I know there's people here tonight, and I've read a lot of social media comments on things that people are addressing. Some people say things that some of the commenters, I know social media is not necessarily visible in this, but it's out there, and it's in this day and age, people are making comments.
Well, we would rather hear from the abutters than stuff.
And they might be abutters, they make comments, I'm not positive.
Let them speak to that.
Okay.
I wouldn't feel comfortable addressing stuff just because it was on
I guess I want
Facebook
to.
or whatever. That has no relevance.
Okay.
to this meeting.
I guess I just want to address that some of the issues relate to things related to site plan, or different areas of town, or different jobs in town, and not related to this. So I want to keep the focus on this tonight. and that it's whether the board would allow it for residential, not the site plan and
Well,
other
that-
things.
Right, but let them speak for
Okay.
themselves. I don't really want to hear what's
No,
on Facebook.
I totally understand. So other things could go in. You could have a factory, like a fabrication shop that goes in that creates more noise than the knife factory. You could have a landscaper that goes in and creates more volume of cars. You could have a business that goes in that does takeout, a restaurant, and you'd have a larger volume of cars. So there's a variety of things that could happen with this lot, or again, it could just become a rundown lot because the clock's ticking and that it's been vacant since last fall, I think, so
Well, I
that
suspect if you put 4 villages in, you're gonna have a substantial amount of cars to begin with.
you would have some cars to begin with,
So-
but all of the traffic issues and stuff.
Your traffic is really invalid.
Well, I think having a business with takeout would require at a nighttime dinner, like in Groton when they have Philos and there's a constant turnover, so I think that could result in more
Okay,
cars.
that's all what ifs.
Yep, I totally agree.
Let's not go to what ifs.
Okay.
Let's go with what's before the board and what is specific to
Yes.
the request.
Okay, so specifically, we're seeking that we turn it into residential, that we have a site plan in the future that can address all of those concerns, and that we think that I feel confident that we meet the legal requirements on this lot because this really is a lot that is zoned as light industrial in an otherwise residential neighborhood.
Are we going to address these individually, or is this going to be,
I think we should do it individually. There's too many moving parts to this. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a one-size-fits-all.
Yeah.
I guess my first question out of the box is, the applicant is a prospective buyer,
Correct.
so
So it's my understanding that the property has been on the market for some time since then, and that he has come in and a prospective buyer trying to turn it into residential. So the company that owns it no longer wants to own it. So they're seeking a buyer and no one else has come forward. And it's been for sale for some time, so it's not that this is the first chance that we're trying to turn it into residential when maybe there's other businesses that would go in. This is a situation that it's been on the market, and at a certain point, a company that owns it and can't sell it, I don't know what happens to it.
so if we grant variances,
hold on. You have 2 different drawings. I'm assuming it's Plan A, Plan B.
Those are conceptual drawings to show you what we were seeking to do based upon those setbacks, but my client can change the drawings. When it goes before site plan, if there's additional changes or we want to do things,
It will have to go to site plan.
Right.
It will have to go to conservation as
correct.
well.
But they're not set on a design, is what we're saying, that they can change things based upon recommendations. So they're
Then
trying to do their best to.
If that's the case, then why are you looking for variances for setbacks?
We're looking for a variance from setbacks because that is those plans that they have 2 different designs, both require those setbacks. So if you gave us different setbacks, then they would have a different plan. So based upon the plans that they have come up with, those are the setbacks that they need.
But you said they changed plans to fit the lot.
No, I'm saying they have two plans proposed.
Conceptual
with conceptual plans proposed with those setbacks. If you tell me that you aren't going to grant those setbacks, then they can come up with maybe a third option. They're trying to develop something on this property, and those plans that they've come up with have those setbacks.
so we don't know who this prospective buyer is. If we grant variances.
It really doesn't matter.
Well, that's the
Yeah,
applicant.
But if we grant variances, is it to this application only? And if it's not,
No, it stays with the property.
it stays with the property, so
Yeah.
the next person that comes in would have the same variances approved? Okay, that was my question.
Yep.
If the variance is granted, this person's buying the property, it's a definite deal that this is going to be. I understand, but it's a good question.
The money's not on the table, it's not a done deal.
I understand.
Okay. You want to just address the first one and you do feedback on each one, or how do you want to do that?
I think, I want to hear from your butters.
On the
On
whole?
the whole
Okay.
enchilada, and then we'll take it one piece at a time.
All right.
Can I ask one question? When people stand up or talk when they're abutters, can we have them identify what their name is
They have
and
to.
which
They have to.
property they live in and whether they're the record owner of the property? So I can figure out just in
Well,
my head.
it's not the record holder of the property.
No, I understand. And
So-
you can say, no, I'm just asking.
They identify
Okay.
themselves, yes.
Okay.
Name and address is what they do.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect, thank you.
So they can, if you wanna take a seat over there, they can come up
Sure.
and sit at the board. With a chair.
Public input? Questions, comments, abutters?
Wait.
Hi,
Hi.
so I'm Tricia Walsh. I own the property at 3 Groton Harvard Road. It was actually my parents' home, and then I bought it, so we've been there for 48 years. Since
Where,
3 Groton Harvard on the corner.
Corner of East Main and
Yeah.
Groton Harvard Road, it's right in the corner.
okay,
I mean, my biggest concern is if the traffic on our road it's ridiculous, especially when the train comes. It is ridiculous. We have people doing 3-point turns constantly on our front lawn, in our driveway, on the street that's next to us, constant. The thought of putting townhouses in addition to that, I mean, I can't even imagine. It's probably one of the worst little spots in town from that little side of Groton Harvard. So the thought of putting, more townhouses or condos or whatever, and 10 more vehicles, I mean, is ridiculous to me. And
well, you're on the other side of the tracks from them, aren't you?
no,
You're on the same side?
yes, yeah.
Okay.
So I think I'm
Okay.
3 lots up. But they take the corner, they see the train, they turn around. They turn around generally in our driveway, a lot of times in the front yard. I would love to know how many accidents happen at the corner of Groton Harvard and East Main, because it's a lot. It's a crazy amount. That is my by far biggest issue. We already have the condos there, and then we have Casa Manor down the street, so I feel like we already have like a lot of people in a little area.
Thank you.
Can I just add to that? So we live actually right next to them. We're on 5 Groton Harvard Road, which is at the corner
name,
of
please?
Page. Angela Crothers.
What
So
was the
we,
last name? I'm sorry.
Crothers, Crothers. So we're right next to them. So on the corner of
Between-
Page.
Between the corner and,
So they're on East Main Street and Groton Harvard Road.
Yeah.
There's Page Street, and we're here between Page Street and Groton Harvard. So we're on the same side of the tracks, the same side that this is gonna be built on, the right
So
side.
this is East Main, right?
yeah.
Yep. So if you go down right to that
Keep
intersection,
going.
That's Page?
Yeah, that's Page right there.
so we're in the middle.
Yeah.
Here?
That's
That
their
one.
house and ours
Yeah.
is the one
And
at
they're-
the bottom.
Right on the other
Yeah.
side, yep.
Okay.
So Tricia brought up congestion, and that is a really big problem down there. The roads are not wide enough, there are no sidewalks. Our kids' bus stop is right at the corner of East Main Street and Groton Harvard Road. A woman was hit there last year, bringing her kids across the street because another car saw the train, stopped, turned around out of our road, and wasn't paying attention to the crosswalk and struck her while he was trying to get out during rush hour traffic in the morning. In addition to that, we have those huge trucks that go by. They turn around in our front yard. There's also ambulances that are constantly going down that road for the hospital. So when you have the train stopped, the cars stopped, and the ambulance going by, it's a disaster. And so to add any more vehicles to that road is scary. It's dangerous at that point. My kids rarely go in the front yard. You know, our house is pretty close to the street. We can't even put up a high fence to protect our yard and our property from those people flying out of there when those train tracks are down. So we park on the Page Street side. We keep our kids in the backyard. It gets pretty crazy. Our whole front yard is torn up from trucks pulling into our yard, from people pulling into our yard. So, I mean, it would be one thing if it was a house with one family moving in and maybe 2 cars, but to have a development there with multiple families, it's just not going to make much sense. And they're going to be right on that train track. So even if there's one car there where their driveway is going to be, that one car is going to block them from getting in and out of that property when that railroad comes down. And sometimes it comes down for a really long time. It's not, you know, if it's not the commuter rail and it's one of those long trains, it can be sometimes
45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Stop.
So, and then that's when things get crazy. And when we first got our notices in the mail that we were having this meeting, that day, actually, we were coming out of the house and we saw the railroad crossing came down. Someone was turning around, an ambulance was coming, and like 5 minutes later, there's a accident. I mean, nothing serious, but there's definitely like a bumper-to-bumper accident. And it happens a lot. So that's our biggest concern. I mean, it's not that, okay, we want to be sticklers, we don't want to see development in the town. It just has to be within reason, and we're worried about all of our safety on that road, and then on what happens on Page, and then of course coming on to East Main Street.
I appreciate that. But what I need to point out, what you're identifying is a planning board issue. We have absolutely zero say over any of that.
Yeah.
The only thing we can debate is whether they can use light industrial for residential, or whether or not they can have the setbacks.
So does the setbacks help? So just, a lot of these terms, I don't know, I'll be honest.
Okay, setbacks
you know, so
is
let's
how
say
much room is
exactly.
on each side.
All right, so that's what I thought, that's what I had a hunch. So that setback, does that make things any safer?
No.
Does that do
No.
anything?
No.
So what would be why ask for that? Just like why would we say, like, what is the point of that exactly?
What is
What's
the point of the
goal?
setback?
Yes.
The setback, the town instituted bylaws saying you're going to have so much property around a building.
So like your house can't be right on the street?
Yes. It's got to be set back a certain dimension
Okay.
for safety reasons, for
Public safety,
public
vehicle
safety,
access.
vehicle access,
So-
whatever the case may be. That's the reason for the setback. Now, one of the comments I read in the application responses, there was a substantial amount of concern about the setback over here on the railroad track side.
Well, that's
a
scary.
serious consideration,
Yeah,
all right?
which
That's-
we've all talked about as well. That's scary.
that's something within our purview. The fact of it being apartment building, condos, 30 cars, I can't say a
We
word
can't
about
do
it.
that, yeah. I mean, we can't talk about that here. But,
You can talk about all you wish, but there's nothing we can do about it.
well, okay, yes, we can talk about it, but it's not the point of the meeting. I understand that.
No, that's a planning board function, and I really wish I could do more of it. We are very limited in scope and application.
And just to explain the process, if all the variants were granted as approved, I mean, this will go to the building commissioner and it will go to the planning board for site plan review. So that's, at site plan review with the planning board is where you're gonna talk about traffic mitigation, lighting, safety. So that's a different board, but it's also, the process is pretty drawn out from start to finish,
Okay.
you could say that.
Do they get notified of those hearings as well?
I'll have to check, we changed that, so give me a minute, I can look.
All right, I'm gonna go take my seat.
Ken, do you know offhand?
Yes, they did, we changed that site
Okay.
plan with those kind of
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Yes, sir?
Hello, so I'm Matthew Smith, I'm at 8 Page Street. So my house is essentially, would be on the other end, and this new property would be sandwiched between my property and the train tracks. So I mean, I object, first off, I don't understand the difference in the property size. I don't know how they have a different size than what, you know, the town has, so I'd like some, so I object to that. I don't know where those figures came from. The other thing is that it's too close to our fence. You know, it's if you're moving variance back, you're moving it closer to our fence. You're moving it, you know, it's too close to the train tracks and our property. They're going to be right on top of us. So that's why I bought that property. It's just it's too little of a property to grant any variance to move things around. And again, it's too close to the train tracks. It's not safe. So that's my say.
You think it will be moved too close to your fence?
If the property's going to be sandwiched
Where's
right up
your-
against my fence, like
Is
this
this
property.
you? No.
No, that's the shed.
That's the shit.
That's my shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you then, Mr.?
So here.
You guys are right there.
Right.
Yep.
Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying, okay.
So they're going to be building all up in there, and it's too. They're going to. If
Is
it's
that,
not.
that fence is their property line?
Yes. So if they're.
No,
so,
they can't go back there. They can't go back there. That's wetland.
I'm sorry.
If I go back, Carly, go back to the
Yeah.
layout. Because if you look at the layout,
Behind Kevin.
you're back over here. That's a wetland buffer, and that's wetlands. They're not gonna do anything back there except cut grass, maybe.
The house next door to us is the wetland behind it.
Yeah, the house next door to us is the wetland.
Behind us
We'd
is
be
just trees.
behind us is trees. They're gonna take all that out.
Yeah,
And build.
and the way I understood it, your wetland buffer cuts like this.
There's always a buffer between the wetlands. They have to do a certain number of feet away from the wetlands to secure it. So they can't touch a certain distance. to
That's
the
right.
wetland.
Okay. Well, but either way, it's still on the other side. It's too close to the train tracks. They're gonna be right on top.
That
of us.
was the topic of discussion. Will be. Because it was mentioned by a couple of the other responders.
Okay, so how about the discrepancy with the lot size? How does that get resolved?
I don't know.
I'm not sure that's really going to be relevant because we're not going to be using the light industrial, we're going to be using the general residence, which is based on 10,000 square feet. And you're talking between 70 and 80. The
Teresa,
discrepancies.
do you have, so was it the town records that
I think
had
the town
it?
records are wrong, to be honest. I
Yeah.
think that's what happened. There was a mistake in the town records somewhere along the way. We've had a plan done to show exactly, when I noticed it, I noticed that it was bigger than the town had it assessed at.
Yeah, and so sometimes with the, like especially an older building, the town records, if there hasn't been a survey done since 130 years ago. Sometimes when these new projects come in, then we'll update our records because they've actually been measured. The town's measurements on the database are more approximate, but you would need a certified site plan, but we don't have a site plan on everyone's property.
So it's not that we made a mistake that affects the application, it's just that the lot happens to be bigger than the town thought it was in the first instance.
Okay.
But you're looking at the difference between 77,000 and 80,000, and what we're really talking about is 10,000 plus 3,000 per unit.
There's
So,
20,
we're talking about 15,000.
I count 20 units, so that's,
20 units?
Yeah.
I saw 20 on the plan.
Yeah, I
In
just-
4 buildings though.
20 units.
21 if they put 80 grand, 80,000.
But-
They'll get one more unit at 80,000.
The plans show 20 units, period.
In
So if you do the
4
math-
buildings, right?
That's what it says in the notes. You see that?
No, I did not. But I was going to ask how many units. says right there, units, in the bottom right.
20.
20 units.
Okay, so does it say how many buildings?
It's 4.
4.
Okay, so if you've got 4 buildings, so is that 10,000 for each building plus 3,000 for the individual units inside the building?
No.
Well, we're getting back into semantics again.
Well, it's going to make a difference on how many square feet we need. If it's 10,000 for the building,
And 3,000 for each additional unit.
correct.
That's 12,000 additional for addition, you've got 10,000 for one unit, and you add in 4 more units for the building, that's 12,000.
So 10,000 plus 3,000 square feet for each additional dwelling unit. So that's each building, not each, oh no.
No.
Yeah, you're right, each unit. Okay,
Each
so
unit.
it's,
Okay, so first of all, you need 40,000 to do the 4 buildings.
No, it's
And then you need 3,000 for each. Well, that's what we need to clarify.
No. I think we went down this road once before, and I thought building.
It's per unit, so that the number of buildings is irrelevant. It's
I understand.
just space.
It's 10,000 for the first.
the first unit.
Okay, so,
And then 3,000 for 19 units.
it's 57,000.
57,000.
So,
Yeah, so you'd have 67. Right. So they'd be like 67. So the 10 for the first unit, 10,000. And then if you have 19 units left at 3,000, that gets you to 57,000.
Okay, so it doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter how many buildings there are, it's
Okay,
units.
well, that was my question.
Yes, it's
Okay.
units. We had, remember we'd run into this once before.
Oh, 57.
57 is the 19 additional.
Yeah, and then
then
plus the 10. Yeah, 67,000.
So the lot size could have allowed for additional units, and we're obviously.
But you needed the parking spaces as well.
Correct, but it's still based upon the lot size itself, yes.
Yes, ma'am?
Hi, my name's Jen O'Neill. Actually, for my mom, it's her home, but I grew up there, and I'm a beneficiary. Sorry.
The woman's still alive.
No. But I did, in case you wouldn't let me, because I'm not a resident of Ayer.
What's the address of the house?
7 Groton Harvard Road. So we're the house immediately next to this. So
Right there?
Right there.
and right there.
All right.
So if the setbacks are 11 feet on that side, which is what I understood, and her property line only goes up about 10 feet off of her house, she would literally be looking in to a person's unit out of her kitchen window. Her house is actually zoned commercial and residential as well. And that's been like that, and I think the house is 110 or 120 years old. But like you said earlier, it hasn't been rezoned since anything's gone on in there. As far as it being an industrial or a light industrial, that's never been a problem. There's never been a noise issue there. I think the neighbors would agree. We live next to a train.
What are you talking about?
We're also concerned with the fact that you're gonna have the 20 units. So I'm thinking initially 20 cars, but in actuality, it's probably more like 30 to 40 cars. Not to include the children that are gonna be there with them. And I just think it's unsafe, quite honestly, being that close to the railroad tracks, especially with a young man who lost a leg there just a few years ago. There's no sidewalks in the community, and we're gonna bring all these extra young kids in and nowhere to walk down the street. Not to mention the fact that literally 2 cars in front of there at the railroad track will stop traffic for an hour, which I know that somebody already said. Is there a plan for there to be a divider between the complex and the
That would be a
the track. Sorry. My
Again.
last question.
I'll say it again.
Okay, you don't know, it's fine. My last question is, has the board done a site visit to the actual property?
We do not.
Okay, I was just curious.
Well, most of us live around here.
Yeah,
we-
absolutely.
I know where it is.
But I mean in proximity to
Yeah.
those
Do we
four
do a site
large.
plan review? No. Do we do
Okay.
a site plan visit? No.
Okay,
Do we do anything with the planning board other than aggravate them? No.
yep, okay. And I don't know how the other neighbors, I mean, everyone's kind of been in the neighborhood for a really long time. But even the apartment buildings that are across the street are, most days, they're the ambulance or the police or drama. It's just a lot to go on in the neighborhood, and it's a nice little neighborhood, and I think this is just gonna bring an element that won't be desired. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Jason Walsh. I live at 3 Groton Harvard Road. My only thing is, why would we change variance or zoning to add more houses instead of, I know, I've heard people mentioning that they were interested in that property to open some type of little factory or something. I'm just curious, why wouldn't we just leave the zoning the way it's supposed to be and give more time? I mean, it was, when did they close?
December.
December. I mean, it's not really, and no options for anybody to put any offer, maybe to bring some jobs in, you know, because when Murphy Knife was there, it was absolutely, you had no problems, you know, they go to work, leave. It was a nice, worked out great. Instead of trying to change everything, and it just seems like it would add more of a problem to the area than help. And like I said, the board meetings are gonna be more of the basic stuff, like the train, you know, like she was saying, they're gonna be kids, we're gonna have to train people, put fences up, it's gonna have to be something like, you know what I mean? So I just think if we left it, why change the bylaws for this if it's already, the bylaws are set the way they are?
What we have to work with, what we have to do at this board is very narrow in range.
Right.
I sympathize with what you're saying. I've been up and down that road myself.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. There is a methodology to approach that, and this is not it,
Yeah, right.
okay?
Okay.
What is it though?
Planning board,
What can we get accomplished here?
Yeah.
What types
Well, yeah,
of things
yeah.
can we get
the
accomplished?
process starts here.
Okay.
Because the prospective purchaser wants to know if we will allow, first and foremost, whether we would allow them to build condominiums or apartment houses, or however you want to phrase it, residences on a light industrial property. That's one item. If that passes the hurdle, the next one would be, what would we require for setbacks? You could say, we could theoretically say, well, I want 100 feet setback all the way around. I mean, it's not reasonable,
Right.
but that's a potential.
Right.
So what that does is makes the property smaller, all right? The usable property smaller, because it's already given up quite a bit of it in wetlands and buffer.
Right.
So our scope of what we can do is like this.
Okay.
If it's approved to be used as a residential property, at that point, it's still got to go to the Conservation Commission because of the wetland, and it needs to go to the planning board for site plan review. Those are the people that are going to address the traffic. Those are the people that are going to address the lights. They have to address all that. It's something we can't touch.
Right. Okay.
So, I'm Matt, 5 Groton Harvard Road, my wife came up earlier. So if you grant them that new setback, can I put a 6-foot fence in my front corner yard? Like that now? Instead of the little 2-footer to keep people off my front yard? Now that this is gonna be, you know, you're moving
What's
things.
the fence have to do with it?
Well, just because I wasn't allowed to put a 2-foot fence in my front yard because of like, that was the
That's
zoning
so-
laws.
Yeah, we had to rip apart our garage. We weren't even allowed to buy our home because the property was too close to the fence.
There was a-
It's
there
a
was
zoning
an
thing.
efficiency apartment that they called an efficiency apartment when we went to purchase our home. We had to tear all that out because
I
the property was
I
supposed to.
have no idea.
Yeah,
Not
so.
to- Again, we
So it's
didn't
just a
apply
thing
for.
Larry
It's a zoning
read.
thing that I'm speaking
Yeah.
to.
No,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
wasn't.
all right,
I'm
let's-
here. And before it gets too carried away, I know you said that the process, only starts here, but it can also end here, right? If we don't grant these variances, we can end this thing today.
That's true. That's absolutely true. As far as your fence goes, can't tell you.
I'm
But
on your side. That's just like
what
that's
I will
vegetable.
say is, all of these zoning bylaws were vetted. Open meetings, and the town voted on them at the town meeting.
Right.
If there was a problem with your fence, I didn't
When was
stick
that
my
meeting?
hand in the air.
We have them
No, we
every
were looking for a
twice
fence
years.
when the truck started.
When the
pulling
truck
up
pulled
my
up, when
yard, and we
the 18-wheeler
couldn't
pulled
do
up in my
anything.
front yard.
Point,
anyway,
point
that's
being, if
besides
someone
the
told you you
point.
couldn't put a fence there, I'd ask why.
Yeah,
I'd speak with Charlie, the building commissioner.
yeah.
He's here in the
Yeah.
morning, 7 to 11, third floor every
I'm
morning.
just,
Yeah, he can help you with that.
But thank you for clearing it up.
Well,
So I know we keep going back to the setbacks, and I do think that that is something that we really need to talk about, because it needs to be more than what they're asking. They need to be further away from it. I know you said they're losing a lot of property already because of the swampland, or the wetlands, but if that's the case, then maybe this isn't the property for that. But for safety reasons, for the street, for the railroad, and residents who may live there, and the residents who are there now, it needs to be more than 10, 11 feet. I mean, it's gotta be a significant amount where you can, if you have to, for whatever reason, drive a vehicle through that space, or get an ambulance back there to get a kid off the railroad, in fire trucks, or whatever the case, in an emergency, it needs to allow that space. You know, if we're going to put residential in there, it's gotta be safe all the way around. I mean, besides just how we're feeling about our fence, or the congestion, which is awful.
Yeah.
And I do wanna address that down the road somewhere else, but for safety reasons, the setbacks, I think, need to be significant. And because that property is right on the crossing, the setback of the front of the property, where the entrance will be, should be even further back, so when those people turn around, when those ambulances come, they can do that without hurting people or hitting someone who's blocking that driveway.
Yep.
And if I'm not sure where else they would put another entrance for that development. It looks like one way in, one way out. If there's traffic, that's gonna be, that's gonna be a risk. So I think that, for this meeting and its purposes, should really be considered. And if it is granted, it's granted to all of those things that, we might say, okay, it's residential, but you do have to do 50 feet away, or, and you threw out 100, but it's a railroad track. I don't even like my kids that close, and we're 2 houses away, so.
Right.
But something that would allow for safety in a residential area, right there. Thank you.
any other butters?
Carly, can I comment?
I'm sorry?
Can I comment?
Yeah.
I know I confused myself with this butter.
By all means.
Alright. So I'm Mike Gibbons, I live at 86 East Main Street. So the guy with the garage who was pointing at his house with the woods, I'm right across the street from him on Page. So I know we've talked about the congestion, all the traffic, the folks who are going to be there, and I know that that's not something that you guys can discuss, that site plan. But like Tracy said, the big thing is that we have to have a hardship, right? And in the past, we've used, financial. Someone lived in a house, they wanted to put an accessory apartment in for their mother-in-law. They own the house, we saw that as a financial hardship. Where this hasn't closed yet, and the applicant isn't the owner, it's a potential buyer, I don't see the financial hardship. Topographical, yeah, I mean, that building is right on the street. And I went in that building in December when they did their garage sale. It's a mess. mean, it is. For a factory to go in there now, it's, you know, they're gonna have to tear it out. I mean, there was literally like a tub, a 6-foot box that just had oil in it. Like, the EPA is gonna tear that up. But again, I don't know that you have a topographical hardship, and the applicant isn't the owner, it's a prospective
Yeah.
buyer, so that's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
I guess first and foremost, we have to decide whether or not we're gonna allow it to be. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah. Can I speak as a resident of town, not in the butter?
Yeah, Alan?
Public input.
So, as long as it's.
Ken Diskin, 180 Washington Street. I was also curious about the fact that I thought, you could clarify this, but I thought for, zoning board of appeals to get a variance, that it would have to be the owner of a record that applied, or someone that had a purchase and sales agreement, at least a legal document, to control the property and apply for the variance. That's my first question, is whether it's logical that a prospective buyer
That was my first question.
has the strength
So,
to apply for variance on property they do not control.
Mr. Chairman, I can speak to that. I do have a letter from the owner of the company authorizing and anytime on our application where it says prospective buyer, there's a note that you have to have an accompanying document that allows a prospective buyer to apply on your behalf. Yep, and we have that already, and I do have a letter from the owner of the company.
Okay, so I think that makes sense to establish that, so
Absolutely.
now we know. I also was trying to listen to when the attorney, representing the applicant, I don't know what hardship she's applying under, what hardship she's trying to
Financial.
establish. Financial hardship? So I have a little issue with that, because I don't think you have a financial hardship until you own the property and you can establish exactly what, your costs are and what your budget is and where your hardship exists, not just speculate about it. And it looks to me like, looking at the application and the way that they're basically picked and choose what sections of the, dimensional requirements and what sections of the use requirements that they want to, have a variance from. And it seems to me that if you allow that to happen, you're basically saying, anyone can come in and pick and choose these sections and establish, what we're trying to do and make it different from the zoning. But I found one issue with the dimensional requirements where if you grant this variance, are we basically saying that the property remains light industrial, but has these
No.
different variances? Because
No.
that's, I think, an important question, because you're saying then that the property would become
The
general,
first question was whether or not we would allow it to be used as a residential.
right? But they're only asking,
And the residential setbacks would apply, not the industrial.
that's not what it says. It says
Not what who says.
That's not what the advertisement says. It says the variance is from the zoning table to allow for multifamily and for townhouse in the light industrial district. That's the first paragraph. So that's only a use change for taking townhouse and multifamily and allowing them in light industrial. It doesn't say we're gonna apply all the the sections in the use table that apply to.
That is correct. We're not asking for all of the sections in the use table to be applied for general residence. We
Right.
have specific requirements that we're seeking, we're seeking residential property, residential units to
But
be built
you're-
on a
what-
light industrial lot.
What you did is you're asking us to give the variances based on the residential
No,
instead of
because on
light
one
industrial.
of ours,
No.
we're seeking 11 feet versus 10 for residential, so we're not seeking an adoption of all of the general residential setbacks.
They're
That's not what
seeking
we're
light
seeking.
industrial setbacks.
They're picking and choosing.
Residential building on a light industrial lot, and then we set out the specific setbacks separately, so we will on each one individually.
Right. So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, the crux of the issue, and setbacks are kind of on the back burner in my mind at this point, until we decide, number one, are we allowing a residential use in the light industrial district?
That's
That's
first
the
and
fir-
foremost.
That's first and foremost.
Anything after that could be.
And, right, and
Sorry about that. It's not a residential use, it's an allowing of a townhouse and multifamily dwelling use, not all residential use. Just says allow townhouse and multifamily dwelling use.
which is residential use.
Yeah, but it's only one of many residential uses.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm trying to establish, is that you're not deciding, are you deciding that they can allow it? I don't think you are, but I think basically the point is that they're trying to establish a variance for specific residential use, townhouse or multifamily dwelling in a light industrial district. That's number one.
That's number one. Number two is they took the general residence minimum lot, 10,000 square feet plus 3,000 to establish that the lot was large enough to support the 20 units.
Right?
So you've applied the residential rule to the industrial lot,
General residence rule.
general
Yeah.
residence.
So they're trying to establish that there's enough general residents in the area to make a case that it should be considered general residence, that this particular lot. That's
I
item
don't know
two.
they're trying to establish that.
Oh, that's what she said. She said there's an
I
existing.
didn't hear his question.
He basically stated that it's in an area, the existing lot is an area of general residence, and consistent with the local area, they'd like to have this lot considered to be general residence.
No, that's not specifically.
Okay. Okay, then I screwed that one up, sorry.
Well, let's define that then.
So I guess my main question was the first one, about the fact that we're trying to establish that the variance is only for townhouse and multifamily dwellings, number one. I think they're picking and choosing, which I don't agree with as a resident. I think, well, I don't think anyone should pick and choose. This is a general question for the board, because I do not know the answer to this. Is your board allowed to condition the approval with, and require off-site improvements and things like that? That's off your table, okay.
It's on your table.
Can you condition the setbacks other than what they're requesting?
Yes.
You can, okay. Seems to me that I guess I'm going to call item number 3. It says that they're asking for 21 feet, but 30 is required. And in their defense, I think only 25 is required in general residence. And I guess in both of them, it says light industrial, and both at the front is 25, so he said it was 30. And
Wait,
so, yeah, it's only 25.
isn't a front yard in general residence 20?
No, but they're asking the light industrial says 25, which is what they're trying to get an exception from.
Yeah.
Variance is on the balance.
I see what you're saying. So they're using general residence to get their square footage.
It's complicated because they're
And then
picking and choosing
then they're using
where it's to
light
where it's to their
industrial
benefit. So they're saying, this is to our benefit. And here's the thing. So the reason I started that out, and the reason I loaded the question was if it's going to be all general residence, because we have a height requirement in general residence that's different from light industrial. So if it stays as light industrial with these variances, do they still get to keep the light industrial height requirement and story requirement? Or do they, which is 3 stories and 40 feet instead of 2.5 stories and 35 feet? So it's either.
No, I'm not going down that road.
Okay, well, I'm saying, I think that's the problem with coming into this board with so many requests. And my recommendation is you take one request at a time and take a lot of time.
That's what we
on each
said at the
request
onset.
and study them carefully. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I address some of the concerns that people raised?
I'm sorry?
Before the board discusses, could I address some of the concerns that people have raised? Thank you. So a couple things. When we did the application, we broke it down like this for simplicity so that it would be easier for everyone to understand specifically what we're seeking so there would be no confusion. And a lot of the people that are here tonight, they've all mentioned that they live in the neighborhood and they all live in residences. That just goes to show that this is a residential neighborhood. And they all liked the knife company being there. But the fact is the knife company closed. and now we have a corporate owner of the property. My client is not just a potential purchaser of the property, he actually has a signed P&S agreement. So there's a financial hardship that if this doesn't go through, that he loses money. So it's not that he's looking at this land and saying, I would like to purchase this. The property was for sale. Someone else mentioned that he's heard of other people trying to buy the property. The property was for sale. There wasn't other offers. Now he has a purchase and sale agreement, so there is a financial interest in
Is
this.
that not a condition of purchase and sale?
It's not a
agreement
condition.
On the ability to do that?
No, that's
Or
not a
shame on you.
condition.
So,
So there is a financial loss if this doesn't go through.
so if this doesn't go through, then your client's still on the hook to buy the,
Or there's a deposit issue, there's financial loss. So it's not that he can walk away without a financial burden.
and you didn't condition it?
I didn't do it.
Okay. I've
So
never seen
I
that.
agree with you that it seems that there should be that, but that's not in there.
Yeah.
So other setbacks, a lot of people raise the traffic issues again, which you talked about, that are not before the board tonight. They talk about that the business houses shouldn't be that close to the street. But what I have for you is a picture of what
The what?
the houses shouldn't be that close to the street, people mentioned. What I do have for you is a design plan. I mean, this is the lot now, it's a bigger lot if anyone wants to look at this, to show where I have one for everyone if you wanted to look at it, where the building is on the street now. And it's 3.6 feet from the street. So everyone talks about all these safety concerns that you
Which
can't. It's 3.6 on Groton Harbor Road. It's 3.6 feet from the street is where the building is. So if you look at this, you got the wetlands in the back, and then you have the building. And when you drive down the road, the building's right next to your car. I mean, the building's right there. 3.6 feet is what the current building is. So everyone's saying, you know, we need further setbacks, we need all of this, but the knife company was 3.6 feet from the street. So,
Children in there.
It's 100.
I understand, but the business is gone. And I know everyone loved the neighbors, they were great neighbors, and they loved it being in the neighborhood, but the fact is, something else is gonna go in. So it's gonna be another business, they're gonna be before you seeking a variance, or it's gonna be a rundown lot, or it's gonna be residential. And
Or a good job.
And then there's going to be the situation that you're here saying, I don't want a business in my backyard, because all of you are here as residents saying, I don't want a business in my neighborhood. So the purpose of the zoning bylaws is to keep businesses separate from residences. And in this situation, you have a business lot.
That's not true.
I bought that house knowing that was the fence.
But that factory is gone. And the property has been marketed, and it's going to be, I know these are site plan things, but people talk about the number of kids, the number of things. This is going to be 2-family residences. So it's not going to be that there's 5 zillion kids running around. I understand all of these things are not before the board tonight, but some of the people have questions about it, and I don't want them to leave and not feel like their questions were answered.
But they weren't.
But
Call
So-
it as it is. I mean,
I think,
I can understand what you're trying to accomplish. Two-family? No, they're not two-family, there's 20
I mean, not
units.
2-family, not 2-family, I'm sorry. I meant to, like, a parent would have a 1 child. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I said it wrong. You're not gonna have, it's not a McMansion that families of 4, yes. So, because you have the soil conditions, the shape, the topography of the lot, there's the stream running through the lot that's building up in the basement. Another business is probably not gonna be able to use the same building that's 3.6 feet from the street. So, there is.
Do you know what we can do about that?
0. I understand. But I'm just saying to people thinking that they wish that the knife factory was still there, but it's not. The fact is, change is
I
happening.
wish
So
Kenny Fried Chicken was
you
still
know?
here, but I'm not gonna get that either.
you are not. So
Nobody said that.
All right, thank you. Sir?
I was just just gonna say, you know, I think, you know.
I don't know, this is not gonna turn into a,
No. But I was just saying, in the beginning, we hear that, you know, this property and this person could buy it, or it could become this, or it could become that, or, you know, the truth of the matter is, from what I understand, this property's only been on the market for, you know, they closed down in December. There hasn't been an opportunity for some.
I mean, there's not even a sign that says for sale.
But I believe in the beginning of this, you know, when she was speaking, that she indicated that it had been on the market for so long, and, you know, no one was gonna buy it, and this property was gonna close, or, you know, turn into an eyesore and all that. You know, that's just not the case.
It is a potential buyer, not a person with a purchase and sale.
well, a man's got a P&S, that's pretty close.
Yeah.
Right. But he also said until you have cash on the table, he doesn't consider him the buyer, so it's a potential.
He didn't tell us he was an agreement.
But he does have an agreement, so he's a potential buyer, but again, I didn't do that contract, I'm just giving you information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I had one more question, if I could ask you. If this board grants a variance to this applicant,
Which one?
whatever the applicant might be.
No,
whatever
variance.
Whatever variance it is, okay? Doesn't matter which one. The question applies to all. And this particular applicant fails to produce the multifamily townhouse dwelling unit on the property within some set time, or there is maybe no time. Does at that point in time, does it revert back to the existing zoning, or does that change in the zoning? So this applicant, in essence, is applying for change of zoning, which is going to increase the value of the property substantially, and then allow that.
Well, that's debatable.
Well,
That's debatable.
It's debatable, but I think in the long run.
Debatable to the point of if we don't grant variances for setback, does that change the value of the property? Not really.
Well, I'm talking about number one.
That changes the amount of usable property.
Right.
But if there's no construction, like they have a year to file for a building permit. So if there's no substantial construction, they haven't recorded at the registry of deeds, Charlie won't issue, if it's over that year time frame, then I believe it would revert back.
So that's my question. I'd like to know.
I'm pretty sure that it
If it
would.
reverts back to the original, but the point of the question is this. An applicant comes in that's a potential developer. Maybe the thing doesn't make it through site plan. Maybe it doesn't make it through something else. Maybe there's an outroar. We want it to go back, and someone comes in and wants to buy that factory or convert it to something else.
Well, what happened?
So that was my question
What happened
for research.
with the gas stations is exactly
They had to
what
keep
happened.
applying for the extensions.
They had to come in every year for an extension. I think they did it 3 or 4 times.
So
And then
they're-
finally we
so
pulled the
when
plug
it's
on.
expired.
So that was my question, if it's possible to get an answer to that, because what I was concerned about was that this board tonight was making a decision in perpetuity that that's going to become a townhouse.
You
and
stick the
multifamily
shovel in
dwelling.
the dirt, that constitutes the start of construction. That's what the attorney said before.
But if we're doing this individually and
That's
we
correct.
grant the use, that carries through whether or not this goes forward.
That's correct.
The use does go.
If we say yes, we will allow this to be for residential use.
Well, this
It
particular-
does,
That goes forward.
no, that goes forward, because we're talking about use. We're not talking about dimensions or number of units or anything else. All we're saying is, yes, we would allow this property to become general residence.
No, it doesn't say that.
Yes, it would.
Yes, it does.
That's the first thing it adds.
No, but if
Doesn't
he
say
doesn't,
that.
if he doesn't start construction within a year, I'm not sure. It may revert back to its original.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
not sure
that's the
that would
question
happen.
that I
We've
have.
never had that instance come up.
We had, we did with the gas station.
Right, but they filed the extensions to
They
prevent it.
kept coming back for extensions
Yeah, which you
because
can do.
they told us that even if we said, no, we're not gonna give you extension, all they gotta do is go up there and start digging a hole in the ground, and that constitutes the beginning of construction, and we're off the table at that point. So once this is changed, the use of that property is changed, that's forever. The setbacks
Yeah, I
are
don't.
variable. The change in use is gonna be recorded.
I think there's still a time frame that he has
I think there's still
After that,
time.
we're gonna say
Is there?
period of time.
Yeah,
There's
that's
an
what I'm
appeal
saying,
period
that-
and all the other stuff.
Yeah, because if there's not substantial construction within a year,
Substantial
then it would,
construction.
it's defined as substantial, and revert back. Like 99% sure I'll close that loop with council tomorrow, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so that, I thought was an important question. And going back to the statement that John just made, the first question says, use variance from the air zoning bylaw section such as table use to allow townhouse and multifamily dwelling. Doesn't say to change the zoning from light industrial.
It's not changing the zoning,
Well,
it's
he just
changing
said,
the use.
he just, I know, change the use, okay. It doesn't say change it to residential use. It just changes to a specific use, is what my point is, the difference.
Right.
It's a specific request for a specific use.
It's still gonna be a light industrial lot, and there's going to be residential units on the light
I
industrial.
understand that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Well, let's take it one step at a time.
Okay,
First and foremost, do we allow townhouse and multifamily dwellings in the light industrial district? Yea or nay?
I'm not comfortable with multifamily. I don't think that's
Yeah.
multifamily size lot.
I have a question on that too. I know what they're asking is townhouse multifamily. It seems to me the earlier question is just residential use, which I'd be willing to move on, but
It's multifamily townhouses, that's plain and simple. That's where they're going.
It's a specific request.
20
for a
units.
specific-
so to go again, so if does that then, that does not bar somebody, say this deal fell through, somebody coming in and wanting to build a single family
Correct.
residence?
No.
It doesn't bar that?
No, it does not.
Well, now wait a minute, it's still light industrial.
Right.
So you'd need a
Correct, but they
variance
would
to
come-
build.
they could
We
still
still
come
have to go,
forward.
they still have to go through the variance process because it's light industrial.
Correct.
To build a single family.
But we're just saying that if you say no to
Yeah, a whole new
multifamily, we're not saying nobody can apply for a single family, we're just saying no to the specific request.
Correct.
And again, we're not sold on the number of units, those were proposals that we submitted. We are not saying that there has to be 20 units.
But that's what that's what the
Those were
proposal
just
is.
proposals, but
But
again.
so are your
multi-
variances.
That's what they're asking.
No, the proposal so that you could see what's out there, but this is not the specific, it doesn't say in our application that we're seeking to have 20 units on that property. We're saying, there's a proposal that has to be approved through site plan. The number of units could be reduced. We're just saying, could there be allowed townhomes or multifamily dwellings on this property?
Right.
Not the number. It could be two, it could be whatever. The application just says, can there be townhouse or a multifamily dwellings in the light industrial use? It is not the number that is before the board tonight.
Right, and so when you submit an application, if they granted this use to allow residential or for townhouses or multifamily, this plan doesn't mean anything. They're just showing us what they may do. And so I just want people, it's not automatically going to be 40, they still have to go through that process with the planning board.
You can have a situation that would be two.
Can I just say one thing?
Please. If this is conceptual, why are you coming forth for setback variations? There's my confusion.
Okay, the reason is because it's conceptual, we decided to apply to come to the board for one time at a variance instead of coming before the board and getting one variance and then coming before the board and then
But it's
having.
conceptual.
But then having you say later, you've already been here, why didn't you just seek that additional setback?
I wouldn't have said
at
that.
So we just did it as one application and that's why we broke it down into 4 parts so you could easily vote on all 4 of them separately. So this is a situation that it's just whether it can, the first question is whether you can build townhomes or multifamily use on this property, regardless of the number.
Fine. Sometimes I'm a little slow, but I'd say, they're
Welcome
saying
to the world.
20 units.
No,
But,
no.
but now, but they're kind of leaving like a area of, it fluctuates, like it might be 2 or it might be more or less. How can you make a decision on something if we don't know what he's actually gonna do?
Because that's all that's gonna be addressed in the future, the long,
Again.
drawn-out process.
Again, it's conceptual.
And that would be dealt with the planning board.
Oh,
So, right, so if this,
Go ahead.
if this variance is allowed, then there's nothing to stop. What, if this is allowed to build the residential condo, or however you wanna call it, onto the light industrial area, does that change how tall they can go, or other variances? Because it seems like they're trying to get variances on both.
No.
I mean, actually, any of the units that we're proposing are actually under the height requirements for light industrial use. So it's actually shorter than another.
But how about for residential use? That's my question.
It's still an industrial lot.
It's still an industrial lot. It falls,
Yes, light industrial.
it falls under the light, excuse me, it falls under the light industrial rules. The only difference is whether or not we allow the multifamily homes to be built on an industrial lot. The industrial rules still apply. They're not different, okay? John?
I'm not comfortable with the multi-family unit on the property.
Ron?
no way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more,
Too many.
yeah. I'd be more willing to consider just a general residential for single or
Yea or nay?
or duplex, but no.
I make a motion, we deny the applicant as written.
That's second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Denied.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, folks, very much.
Okay. So the other ones are ready.
Yeah, where, is there, what happened to, the last, the first one never showed up.
Right, no, she's still not here.
Yes.
The neighbor's here, but the applicant's here, not here, so.
So what do we do? I'm not continuing it.
I would continue.
Huh?
You would continue, because we have 90 days to make a decision. She's still within that window.
You're gonna make us come back in August.
We already are coming back in August. Yeah, for an Airbnb situation. So, maybe, hopefully. So, we'll just, I would respectfully request that you continue it in case she comes back and, I mean, she's already invested, I would say, over $1,000 into this process, so I would hate to have her start again. I don't know if she had a family emergency. Yeah, so I'm not sure, but I'll certainly follow up with her in the morning.
It was continued the first time because we didn't have.
We didn't have enough
Yeah,
hours.
right. So it
All right.
seems fair to.
Let's continue.
Okay, yep.
I make a motion that we continue.
Well, let's close this hearing first. We haven't done that.
Yeah. Make a motion to close the hearing from Homestead LLC.
Yeah.
Second?
Anybody?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's continue the hearing for Global Partners.
That's gonna be August what?
Hello again.
It's on the bottom of the agenda.
Really?
Really, I'm back. Tracy.
You want the bad news now or later?
Yeah, yeah.
This is gonna have a much better outcome.
I don't
You guys
think
are
so.
gonna, positive.
We've
Look at the-
already discussed this 2 years ago.
Well, I think you discussed,
Was it the same site though?
No,
No.
just,
You
they
discussed the
they
zoning-
moved down the street, but it's the same request.
But that is a separate hearing, we can't,
Okay,
not taking
all right.
that into consideration.
You gotta open it.
It's been open, and we're just
Okay.
continuing it.
Okay. Just wanna make sure we're good.
You're up.
I do have
Good evening.
pictures. Good evening. My name is Tracy Harding. I'm here tonight seeking a variance from Ayer zoning bylaw, section 9.5, to allow for a total of 5 signs where 2 are allowed. As you recall, Attorney Gibbons of my office has been before this board on several previous occasions, and this board had, for the property located at 2628 Harvard Road, which was approved, this board approved to become an all-town convenient gas station. We, along with many other members of the town, are very excited about this. It's great for the town of Ayer. So the convenience store is going to be approximately 4,830 square feet. If you drive by, you can see the construction already of it. There's going to be 8 gasoline dispensers in the front and 4 diesel dispensers. It's important to note that this parcel is 6.2 acres. You know the history of my client trying to be a good neighbor and having local residents, anyone that was going to receive notice at the town hall, provide food or drink. No one's objected to anything along the way. They have agreed to install the sidewalk to Markham Circle. So the board has already made the determination on several occasions that this lot meets the legal requirements for,
Excuse me, we did not.
Okay.
Planning board did.
no, for the variance in the first instance, you decided
For
that
the
the
user
board.
variance we did, yeah.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So on 2 separate occasions, this board has determined that this lot meets the requirements for a variance.
Okay.
Okay? So I'm saying that that those relate to the soil conditions, shape, topography, showing a literal enforcement of the provisions of the bylaw would involve substantial hardship, financial or otherwise, showing the desired relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good, and doing so without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of the bylaw. So a literal enforcement of the bylaw, what we would say would involve a hardship that the construction has started. I understand that a financial burden is not alone enough for the hardship, but I think the purpose of the zoning bylaw is to prevent sign overload. And that you have addressed that in the past, that you don't want sign overload, but I'm gonna hand out some pictures to everyone, that I have the conceptual plan on the front of where the lot is located. You'll see the gasoline dispensers out front, the store, and the gasoline, diesel dispensers in the back. And you will also note that there's pictures of a different location. This is obviously not Ayer because it's not done yet, but showing what the signs would look like. There's one above the front entrance, and there's one on the side. And in the application, it does show specifically with the signs. I just thought, personally, when I look at those, I don't think it's as clear as looking at this, so I decided to bring these so you'll be able to see that from the street, you will see a gas sign. There's nothing on the canopies here, whereas the gas station across the street has signs on the canopies. So this is all gonna be blank. And then you'll see the sign above the front door, sign here, and then there's a sign about back because the diesel entrance or the diesel pumps are in the back and people can enter the building from the back. So I have these to hand out so people can look at.
Okay, so you lost me completely. You're allowed 2 signs,
Allowed 2 signs.
and you showed me 2 signs.
That doesn't include the sign up front, John.
It doesn't include the sign,
Where's your additional
it's on the
sign?
application.
It's in your packet, which you don't have, or do you have it there?
I have it here.
Oh, okay.
So in the original application, it has, and I have one more.
So how is this different from the same application up the street? All you did was move down the street.
Okay, I wasn't involved in that,
Well, I
so,
understand that.
so I
But
can't
you
comment.
represent them.
I do represent them.
So they had the same application, and they were up the street, and they came before the board, and they wanted 3 additional signs.
Okay,
And we said no.
okay.
But now,
And so then they come down the street, and they say, okay, we're back, and we want 3 additional signs. I need to know what is the difference between these applications.
Well,
so one of the things, and correct me if I'm wrong, so when I looked at the application, I looked at the pictures of the signs, and, sorry, it's loading right now. So just so I understand the signs, right, you have
Yes.
the gas sign.
yes.
Is that one or is that,
So-
that's 3, right?
No, the gas sign is actually 2.
No, that's the one on the street.
The one on the street is actually 2. I would look at it as a consumer and think that it's 1.
That's right.
I spoke with Charlie Schultz, and he indicated that since there's a gap in between the Alltown and the prices for the gasoline, that it's considered 2 signs. So when you look at the application, you might think there's only 4 signs. Where is she getting 5 signs? So it's 5 because the 1, arguably 2 out front, is the same sign. It's just there's a gap in the middle.
Okay, so that's 2.
Yes, so that's 2. And then you have the 2 on the front that you see in the pictures. You see 1 above. And again, this is a different location, so it's not exact, but it's the same.
Right.
Okay? I just want to clarify so there's no confusion. You're going to have 1 above your head when you walk in, so you know where you're going. And then there's 1 down the far end of the building.
So that's 4.
And then there's 1 around back, because the difference of this gas station versus other gas stations in town is that it has a rear entrance, because you permitted the diesel points to be around back. So when the diesel trucks pull in, which would be much safer than the gas station across the street, they pull in the back and they want to go in the convenience store, they walk in the back entrance. If there's no sign back there,
It's not a back entrance.
there is a back entrance.
Where is the back entrance?
They said there's a back entrance.
There's a back entrance coming, Kevin Doyle
To the
told
store.
To the store.
To the store.
Oh, to the building, not to the
Oh,
sidewalk.
no, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry, I apologize. It's a back entrance so that,
To the store.
yeah, so I walk in and I know where I'm going, so
I'm thinking
it's,
there's a road there
No.
somewhere. No, I
I
don't
was
think
like
so.
confused, I'm like, there is. So it's the same as when I walk in the front, I walk under a sign, and when I walk in the back, I walk under a sign. That there are signs that are bolted to the building. So they're not sticking out signs, they're not these large, enormous signs, it's a very New England classy look when you drive over the town line. I think the first thing you're gonna see is the gas station. It's gonna look great. When I saw the pictures of it, I originally thought this was gonna be a gas station with a convenience store. And personally, I thought it looked great when I saw the pictures of it. And I drive by and see it. Maybe you disagree. I don't know.
No, I don't.
Sorry, you're laughing,
I
sorry.
do think it'll look good. I honestly do. A classic New England gas station. It's not, shaker and, it doesn't have cedar shakes on it.
It does though. I mean,
It
it
has
doesn't,
cedar
no, it doesn't.
Cedar
But-
wood finish on the exterior.
Oh, see?
Regardless, I do think it's.
When I saw pictures of other locations, when I brought them up on my computer and I looked at them, I thought, oh my gosh, this really does look great. This is not what I pictured. I pictured a gas station with a convenience store, and that is definitely not what's going in there.
And I didn't mean to laugh.
No, I understand.
I just.
We were all for that anyway. We were all for this concept anyway to begin with, because first of all, the other one is just too crowded, and now it's
Yes.
not the eyesore that it was.
Oh, it's going to be great.
Okay, so we had no problem with all that, but the signs, we did have an issue.
So you speak of an application that I was not involved in, and the issue before the board tonight, though, is this application. It's me here tonight based upon this. It's not anything that was said at a prior hearing or how the signs looked at that. It's this building on this lot, and you have 6.2 acre, 6.2, I want to clarify, make sure I'm correct, a 6.2 acre parcel. So you could have had a situation of 3 different businesses in the same range.
We have.
You don't. But when the purpose of the zoning ordinance is to prevent sign overload. So when you drive in, you could have saw business sign, business sign, business sign, 6 signs. And now you drive in and you're gonna see 1, arguably 2, gas station sign. And then you're gonna see a building that if you drove by it already and saw the construction, it is set back from the street. So you don't really even focus on that. It's not sign overload. And then I park and I walk in and I see a nice sign on a New England field building. I see a sign down the end. And then for the diesel customers, they see a sign when they walk in the building, the same as I see a sign in the front of the building.
Mr. Chair, if I may, because it keeps getting referenced, the old location is when we had a packed room full of abutting neighbors and lights from the sign and brightness.
Oh, I understand all
You
that.
remember all that, yeah. I just wanted to,
Also, that other application was with a joint venture, Dunkin' Donuts and a branded gas mobile,
yeah.
where they require signage as part of being a tenant. And this particular property is all one, it's all Altown Fresh.
Yeah.
So it's just one brand, as opposed to having 3 or 4 brands or co-tenants in the other place.
I think the other issue that we had with the last application, if I'm remembering it right, is that the signs were on the canopy. They were at the time, I remember we were all very upset.
That's
about
true,
the
they
canopy.
were.
These
And-
ones are not on the canopy.
No, if you look at the canopy,
And I think that the gas sign out front, the fact that we call that two, I honestly.
I
think
wouldn't,
she
I
should
would,
say
I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have done that, 'cause that's.
So I call that one.
Also, as far
arguably,
as
I'm
the
seeking
pylon
four.
sign out front, the digital price signs, we're required to post our prices at the street. So the price signs themselves really aren't part of the brand. It is required that they're posted, no matter where you are in the state. So that's really not a sign.
and you can see the canopies on how this is gonna look, that it's clear that there's not sign overload. You're seeing, the typical person would look at this and see one sign on the street. They look at the building, that's a large building, it's not a small building with two small signs in the front. They see a large building with one sign above the entrance, which you typically see when you walk into business, one sign down the end, and then the diesel customers see one sign when they walk in.
I have no problem with it.
I think it's just such a unique lot because it's not the other gas stations that you drive by and you pull up out front. It's such a large lot that you pull in. I mean, when you're coming from Harvard, you're gonna notice it because it's gonna look great, but you pull in and you don't get the sign overload. I've lived in other parts of the country, you know, I envision certain roads or maybe Route 1, and you envision sign after sign after sign, but that's not what's happening here. This is, you have a gas sign out front with prices. There's a gap in between, which personally I like because as a consumer, I like to know the gas prices before I pull in the gas station because then I can make a quick decision, right? So I've seen some of them that are small or they have the little words cash and all of those things that I can't see. This I like to know the price and then I can make a decision and then I can go in the store if I want it, but.
I understand the sign in the back, none of the problem.
Okay.
Why do you need two in the front?
I think it's the way that the building feels, that it is their branding, that it's a large building, so it's not two signs on top of each other.
Can't see one from the other?
It's just the way it's set up, to be honest. And if you look at the pictures, you can see.
I saw it.
That
I don't
if
know
I'm
if we
down
can see that
here,
one from the road.
if I'm parked here and I'm this truck, I can't see that sign.
I'm
Like,
not sure
arguably-
you'll be able to see it from the road either.
What? I don't think you can see it.
I
from the
don't know.
road.
I don't know how much they're gonna clear in front of it.
No, because I think you're gonna see a canopy from the road. Like, you're gonna see a blank
Yeah,
canopy.
I'm not sure
So-
that's gonna be too visible from the road.
So you're not seeing it, and if I pull down the other end, then I'm not seeing that sign. So it's not two signs in my face, it's I'm parked over here. I want to know where I'm going. They're proud of their brand, and they're excited to be in town. This is a great tax revenue for the town, it's great for jobs, and they're not trying to...
And they've improved the property, I do that.
They totally have, and they've done everything they can to be good neighbors to everyone. No one's here objecting to things, no one's objected along the way. Again, they reached out to people ahead of time.
Is
Maybe
anyone here
people are,
objecting before
sorry?
you say that?
Well, that's good.
Speaks for the audience. It's incredible too, to brain this person has. It's amazing.
Are there any public comments?
I just think when you guys see it at the end, that I think everyone's gonna love it. I do.
It's a gas station.
It is a gas station, but it's more, I'm telling
I think we're getting
you.
into the weeds a little.
No, I
It's a
really
gas
thought
station.
I was
do think
working
it's gonna
on-
look very nice.
I-
I'm in favor of this.
I thought I was working on a gas station application, and when I saw it, I did say, oh my gosh, that looks so much better than I ever thought.
I think it's
To
nice.
be honest.
I think it's gonna look good.
I think we get excited about the gas.
We've gone through this process, you know, for
Small town.
literally my first meeting was when we first
Welcome to
started
Ayer.
discussing. I'm in favor of this, but.
Yeah, but I think it's the products they sell. It's a variety of things that make this different than the typical convenience store. So people are gonna be excited. It's not a gas station convenience store. It is different, I'm sorry. You're gonna go in there and then
I
you'll
am
tell me
gonna go
later,
in.
you're gonna say, Tracy, you were.
Day they open, I'll fill my truck
You're
up.
preaching.
But it's a gas station. You got me on board. I'm in favor of this. I think the signs are, they're aesthetically pleasing. I know we had an application for Wendy's that came in front of us 3 or 4 years ago.
That's right.
Again, that they had a height issue, which I think kind of was
Right.
addressed.
It's also a sign issue.
It was, but it was the height of the sign at the time. And the concern was that the height of the sign, which was lit, would affect demonstrators.
That had to be 5 years ago, before my time.
And I did drive by McDonald's today, after I drove by this, and I came back and I saw a McDonald's sign, and then I saw Playland, like, and then another McDonald's sign. So I saw more signs from the rotary as I was driving around, more in my face than you're gonna see when you're driving by this.
So what are we buying here? We're trying.
So it would
So
be,
there's two there's, count the signs, okay, in the front.
There's,
On the roadway, visible will be, you're saying 4 signs.
the roadway sign, because of the gap in between, is actually considered 2.
Has to be
You will look at it in the
continuous.
future,
So-
and you will think it's one sign. Everyone will think it's one sign, but Charlie Schultz is saying that because of the gap, that it's actually 2.
So that counts as
So
one
that
sign.
counts as 2.
Two signs. I'm
It counts
sorry,
as 2.
signs. Okay.
Because the price
Size
is
of
the
the
gap above the price.
But everyone would view it
Yeah,
as,
got it. All right, well now we're facing the building.
Yep.
And then you
That
got
looks-
these
What
two.
you're saying is something like this.
yes, So I see one-
There's going to be 2 signs on the front of the building.
yes, so on this, you see there's one down this end, and then there's one down the far end.
With a vertical sign.
Yep.
Why do you have to have 2 signs in the building?
It's the length of the building and their branding, so that it's all the way down the end.
And
So
it
it's
looks
not-
funky having it upside, edgewise.
But that's their branding. They're proud of this is their new concept. This is their, and then there's a sign around back.
And
So
what's the sign in back say?
it's gonna
What
say
is it?
All Town, and it's in the application. It's just, so it's that the
But-
diesel customers know what store they're going into, because they can't see any of the other signs.
A sign usually,
Right.
it lets you know you've got the door you can go in.
Right, if there was
So
no
if
sign in
these
the back, they might think it's an employee entrance.
All right, well, you could have an informational sign there, this is the way to the diesel, if they can't tell that. I don't know.
But it's not,
So you have another brand sign in the back.
Yeah, you have like a welcoming brand sign, yes. But that's the uniqueness of this lot, in that other businesses don't enter from a rear entrance. So that it's a larger lot, so it's the 6.2 acres, so that you pull in and if you've driven by it, it's set back from the street. It's not on the street, it's set back, and diesels are pulling around back, so there's a large area that this encompasses.
This is all the same entity, all the same brand, all the same.
Only one company.
It's one company,
One
correct.
company.
But I just feel like if I was in the back, would I feel comfortable walking in when there's nothing? Like, I want to know I'm walking in a store, that I feel comfortable being welcomed. And if I walk in the back and there's no sign up there, are we making the diesel customers not feel as welcome? Do they feel like they have to walk around the front entrance of the building? I mean, if you think about a store you go in, there's a sign, it welcomes you.
I think it's, truthfully, when you said the point about the customer entrance is even a customer entrance. If there's a sign above it, I know it's one.
They've never allowed this in, over in Harvard line, even if they had such a thing, sign here, sign there, It's, I don't know, that's nothing to do with this board.
I think when you drive from Harvard, it's gonna be this.
Before I jump into this, have you looked at the signs?
Yeah, all
Isn't
of-
there a limitation?
All of the signs are gonna, Charlie Schultz has looked at all of those, so all of these signs, we're just asking for the number. All of the signs have to meet the side requirements. So I'm not asking for specific dimensions on the size or any of that. It's just the
Because it's a
number
total
of
square
signs.
footage, I thought.
It's my understanding that he,
But that's not, we're not
seeking
on that,
5.
we're just on numbers.
it's my understanding we're seeking 5, and he is going to make the best decision he can, and
each sign will
For each
meet
sign.
meet the dimensional requirements.
And if not, it'll be-
Like that's why
Right.
they're counting
If not, I'll be back.
the
Hopefully
front
not.
sign as 2 because of a total square footage issue of the gap. So for their signs that have been submitted to the town meet dimensional, they just want 3 more.
All right.
Is there any other questions that I could address for anyone?
Yes, sir?
Unrelated question.
Then why ask?
Is the sign across the street at the old station going to be decommissioned immediately? These signs?
Not right.
We're just going to.
I don't really think that had anything to do with it, to tell you the truth.
It's a general question.
No idea.
They have a permit for the sign?
I would, no. That's grandfather, that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I was
I
under
would
the
think when the
impression,
other one opened, they're gonna take this
Yeah, I
down.
think we asked them that at the last meeting, were they taking that one down? That one's
Yeah.
gonna go
You
away.
can speak to that.
Yeah, once the new store is up and operational, everything across the street will be shut down and debranded.
So you'll have less signs
Gonna dig it
across
up,
the street.
The tanks will be removed according to
Title fire.
MFPA,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
okay.
Yes.
Does the sign come down?
The sign will come
Yeah.
down. Because we'll no longer be an
You guys own the land, or you rent that lease?
I believe we own that one.
John,
So,
what do you think?
I have no problem.
Ron? You got a problem?
That's it.
He has no problem with
Probably
this.
no.
Huh?
That sign on its end is ridiculous. It's not necessary. but-
No accounting for tapes.
All right, that's all right.
No accounting
You've
for
got
tapes.
enough people to vote for it, that's fine. I'm gonna vote against it.
Jess? I don't need to ask you, Rick.
I said it before, so.
Make a motion to grant the variance for 5 signs.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Well, thank you. See, much better outcome, right?
For you.
You know,
Thank you.
but
Our next meeting is August, I make a motion to close this hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
We have to continue this one now.
Yeah, I think we never took the vote.
We didn't get the vote.
Oh, we didn't? Okay, I'm sorry.
So, hold on one sec. Sam and Michael did to close this one.
Yep.
Sorry, these are minutes, are confused. 7:41. Okay, and then for James Brook Way, we need to continue until whatever's on the bottom of the agenda. That's the next meeting.
August 17th?
21.
21, really?
Seems like it.
Yeah, it does.
Not complaining.
Yeah, because the first is on
Oh.
like a Thursday, so that puts us.
August 21st, Jesus. It's late for Monday. Good thing, we got a game.
You're gonna get rich selling all those tickets.
Okay, so motion on that.
On what?
To move it to August 21st, to continue the hearing.
Make a motion to continue the hearing for 17 James Brook Way to August.
At 6 PM.
6 PM. 6:05.
Well, I wouldn't to go 6.
Yeah, 'cause that's the first one on the night, 6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, make a motion, we adjourn.
Now, we're gonna do reorganization things on.
Oh, yeah.
isn't it?
What's the matter?
The reorg of the board, because we just redid appointments.
Ah, okay. We can reorg or we can stay the same. Your call.
I'm happy to stay the same. Or, I'm happy to not be chair.
John?
I'm okay, you okay?
I'm okay, if you guys are okay. I mean,
Leave
if
it
somebody's
alone.
interested, yeah.
Leave it alone then. Ain't
Ron?
broke, don't fix it. Okay. What's that, for a year, another year?
Yeah.
Okay. Just gonna get a raise?
Yeah, you get twice now.
You get twice now, right?
Okay, now we can.
We did the minutes.
Now we adjourn?
Yeah, because we did the minutes.
Okay, yeah,
Yep.
we did that first. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.